And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I rarely start a review with a picture of the game board, but in this case I want to just impress upon you how impressed I am with the components that are involved in Giants. Giants, at this point in time, has my vote for the best components of a board game of the year. And its beauty and just sheer greatness of how everything works together and how neat everything is built and just how much fun it is to play with the game is amazing. Now, I think it's a great game too. Oh, I should say very good game. But the components really elevate it, and I'm just amazed at some of them. For example, let me put down here, in here, you can see a chieftain. All right, this gentleman is a chieftain for the light blue color. Well, here's a chieftain for the dark blue color. Now, you might notice that they're a completely different mold. Here's the chieftain for the yellow color. Again, completely different mold. Was that necessary at all? And you can see with the different pieces that they have different molds. Here's regular workers. And then combine that with the shields that each player has, and just the backgrounds that they have are different. Again, not even remotely necessary. And just look at the components for the game. We have three-dimensional, the Easter Island statues. We have different pieces over there. We have a little box you can put all your plastic pieces in. Even these tiles aren't necessary. They could have used cards, but they put these trees on the board, and it's an amazing thing. Now, sometimes the components might... Here we see the logs, which are great. They look like little wooden logs. The problem with these is that, you flick them a bit, and then they do tend to scatter all over the table. But I'm willing to sacrifice sometimes some functionality for form because it really looks good. All right, enough of me raving about how the game looks, though. You want to know how it plays. Well, basically, it has an interesting feature, a little bit of auctions, and then a lot of bit of pickup and delivery, I would say. At the beginning of each turn, players are going to roll, one of the players is going to roll dice. These dice will show what numbers, what statues are brought out. So here we'll have a size 1 statue, a size 3 statue, and a size 2 statue. Players are then going to bid for those. When they bid for these, they're going to be using two different forms of currency. They're going to be using these coins, and they're also going to be using their workers. See, you need to bid a certain amount of workers to build. You need at least one worker to build a size 1 statue, 2 workers to build a size 2, and 3 to build a size 3. But you don't even get a statue unless you've bid the most coins. So you can bid as many coins or as few coins as you want, 0. But if you don't bid workers, you don't get to do it. For example, let's say I bid 2 coins and 1 worker, and everyone else bid 0 coins. Even though I bid 2 coins, I go first. My only option is to take the 1 size statue because I only bid 1 worker. While if someone bids 0 and they have 3 workers, and I bid 2 coins and I have 3 workers, I can take the 3 statue because I get to go first. By the time it gets around to them, they may or may not be able to take the statue if I've already taken it. Well, what's the point of taking these statues? Well, after everyone takes their statues from the bidding, then we take turns placing things on the board. There's many different things that you can do at this time, but the most important is with your sorcerer. With the sorcerer piece, you can place her in different spots, and she will give you a different benefit. The problem is, you want all these benefits. You will probably want another coin that you can add to your collection, or you'll want to chop down these trees. And interestingly enough, and in keeping with the theme of the game, once the trees are gone, that's it. And we learn about Easter Island and how they pretty much devastated the ecology there. And this game, again, brings that to life. I really like the marrying of the theme and mechanics. You can get a hat, so that once you get these hats, you'll be able to put them on your statues. You can get another worker, and you can reserve a spot on the board so that it's yours. But basically, besides putting out your sorcerer, you have your chief and your workers, and you'll be using them as well as logs to move your statue. So let's say I have a size 2 statue, and this is the way the game is set up at this point. We put all our workers out, and we take our turns, and so I want to move my size 2 statue to a place where it can go on the island. So I start from here, which is where the statues start, and I can't move here because there's only one worker. I need 2 workers. Now, if I had put a log there earlier, I'd be able to do so. So let's say I move him here. I can move him 2. Now I move him here. If I'm the yellow color, I can move him on other players' colors, but I'm giving them points. I may want to do that, so I can move there. Blue and red both get a point. My chief has a strength of 3 men, so he can easily move it. Here, the blue guy in a log, I can move it, and that gives the blue player another point. And then I move it here onto the spot, put a token of my color, yellow, there, and erect the statue. At the end of the game, that statue is going to be worth 4 points. And as you can see, it shows you the value of the statue and the value of the hat. Hats are put on top of statues. They come from here. So the farther away from it is, you can see the points go up. See, to put a hat all the way over here is going to give you 14 points. But that only gives you 3 points for a statue. And all the way on the other side of the island, we can see that placing statues over here are worth 10 points, while hats are only worth 5. Now, hats are always the same value of points, but the statues, depending on their size, will give you a modifier. For example, that 2 statue that I put right here, this is worth 4 points, but because he's a size 2 statue, it's 2 times 4, which will give me 8. And this continues until one player manages to use up all their podiums and get their statues out. And what you'll be doing is each turn you'll be placing workers, you'll be slowly getting more workers. You're trying to win these statues, but then set up something to get them to the right spot on the island, grabbing those hats. And you'll never feel like you'll have enough that you can do, but still putting it all together for a nice pickup and delivery game. I've tried to determine to myself, what would I think of this game if it was just hexes and moving stuff around? And I think I might still like it, but with the components, it just brought the theme to life. But still, I thought it's an interesting game. You can try and take one huge statue, a level 3 statue, and move it all the way across the island, get it on the best spot, which I think is 10. So 10 times 3 would be 30 points. Or you can take a whole bunch of smaller amounts of points and see if you can win that way. And I like that feature of the game. It's not very cutthroat, except maybe in the bidding. And in fact, there's a bit of sharing. Please use my routes. Please use my men. I'll give you points. Almost has an Age of Steam feel to it, except it's not nearly as mean. The game box says that it takes, an hour to play or so. It's probably a 2-hour game. And if you play with people who have analysis paralysis, those who sit around and, what am I going to do next? You may just, feel like knocking them down. But there's some interesting things here. You need to retain control of these statues. You need to save those coins when you're moving them, because usually you won't be able to move them all on one turn. Maybe just a little bit towards where you want to put them. And so you need to retain coins to keep these statues. If you don't, someone else can take that statue from you. And so you have to be careful. It's not, again, it's not cutthroat. If you really want to keep a statue, if you really want to control what you have, well then it's yours. But if you're kind of lazy and you want to use your resources elsewhere, you may end up losing one of these to someone who has managed their resources better. Components, A+++++. Gameplay, I'd say A-. But together, it's a very good game, and one that I will definitely keep in my collection.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.